Why support Trump now? Trump!
It's very, very troublesome to be a Trump supporter on campus, which again, I'm not.
I've had people who have yelled obscenities to me. I've also had people who have flicked me off.
If I could be honest, I don't think either of them has really come out and spoke to college kids.
My biggest fear right now is underemployment. And sadly, there aren't that many policies that are related to me.
To be quite frank with you, I'm not really excited for this election. It's between like the cholera or the Black Plague. That's how I feel between the two candidates.
Hi there, I'm David Chang.
And I'm Vince Lattanzio, and we're the Battleground brothers. With Pennsylvania being a battleground state for the 2016 election, we're traveling across the Keystone, talking to young voters about the candidates and who they think can or can't run the nation for the next 4 years.
So I don't know if you could see, but we're right in front of the Nittany line.
Yep.
So we're here at Penn State's main campus in State College.
We are Penn State! We are Penn State! We are Penn State!
The political process is well represented on this campus of 46,000 students. You've got the college Republicans, college Democrats, we are for Trump folks, progressives, and independents.
I'm sorry, why should Walmart have to relinquish their profits because you say so?
Because it shouldn't be on the taxpayer.
The Clinton campaign has an office here. The school is even offering a one-credit course on Donald Trump. Political scientist Michael Berkman is one of the professors developing the class.
This is a difficult election for young voters, I think, because you have two candidates who are either 70 years old or close to 70 years old. And now Bernie Sanders, of course, was an older candidate too, but there was just something different about him that really resonated with students. So I think some of them are searching and trying to figure out exactly what they're going to do.
The Pew Research Center found millennials, those between the ages of 18 and 35 this year, identify with Democratic ideals more than any of the past 3 generations. Trump in particular has been a divisive figure on campus, especially among Republican students.
I will speak.
It was very dramatic, it was very loud.
Tim Reams is a writer for the student-run Penn State blog Onward State. He's been following ongoing strife between college Republicans and the group We Are for Trump. The college Republicans chose not to endorse Trump, marking the first time they hadn't supported a presidential candidate since the group's founding in 1940. The decision came to a head in the college Republicans' first meeting.
Why support Trump now? Trump!
There's people screaming disrespectful chants, there's people screaming Trump, there's people, and they were all adorned in their Make America Great hats again.
So is this coming from both sides, or?
No, this was just the Trump organization. They had copies of the college Republicans' Constitution. So when they stood up, they cited certain amendments within the Constitution to say you couldn't do this, you couldn't say we don't endorse Trump. It was very dramatic, it was very loud, abrupt, abrasive, and in my opinion, disrespectful. But they felt that was what they had to do to voice their opinion.
I think you should support the nominee.
Chris Baker, a senior from Westchester, Chester County, is communications director for We Are for Trump, the student group that sparred with the campus Republicans. He feels Trump isn't getting the support he deserves.
We saw some of the Onward State reports about the conflicts between the college Republicans and Donald Trump supporters, sort of a division. What are your thoughts on the whole situation?
It's been a very touchy time on campus with the Republicans. Part of the reason why this all started was there was a vote that was held right before college, or right before fall semester began. They said 72% voted against endorsing Trump. That's 24 people. The first meeting of the year, there were over 100 people. And still, when the Trump supporters came to the meeting, they wanted to have a revote, another vote for an endorsement. That got shut down.
If we're not supporting Donald Trump, are we supporting Hillary Clinton?
No. And who are we supporting?
Let them decide for themselves, these new 90 members, whether or not they want to support the nominee, Donald Trump.
Michael Straw is president of the Penn State College Republicans.
I don't know who I'm going to vote for if I decide to vote in the presidential election. A lot of people don't understand as well that means we're not endorsing anyone. We're not endorsing Hillary Clinton. We're not endorsing Gary Johnson. Our organization is simply just not endorsing Donald Trump. And no one's being impeded for supporting Donald Trump. You're allowed to do as you wish.
What's it like being a Donald Trump supporter on campus?
You get a lot of different feelings from people. I walk around, I have the Make America Great Again hat. I've been walking around campus and I've had it taken off my hat and someone tried to run away with it. But those types of instances are few and far between. I've also had people who have flicked me off. I've had people who have yelled obscenities to me. It's surprising because I think that there are a lot of people who on campus do support him, or people who want to know more. I think that's even more people who are just intrigued. They don't know who they're going to choose because there were a lot of Bernie supporters. They don't know between Hillary and Trump.
Penn State was one of the last places Bernie Sanders stopped before the Pennsylvania Democratic primary in April. Turnout was huge, and he had major support from Penn Staters, like many other colleges.
You know what? We're going to do a lot better, I think, than people thought we would.
His loss to Hillary Clinton appears to have translated into tepid support for her.
I'm not so sure about like Hillary because originally I was for Bernie, you know, and he had like more of a plan.
Right.
Like to be quite frank with you, I'm not really excited for this election just because like neither candidates are really attractive.
So is that a sentiment that you see among your friends here, even at school here, or?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I went to Urban Outfitters one day and I saw like a little sticker and it says, you know, I guess I'm with Hillary or, you know, I don't know, but not Trump though. Between like the cholera or the Black Plague, like, you know, but that's how I feel between the two candidates.
There are third and fourth options in the form of Libertarian Gary Johnson and Green Party candidate Jill Stein. Sean Bengali, a junior from Toms River, New Jersey, is a member of the campus Republicans, but voted in Johnson, the former governor of New Mexico.
I do have a strong dislike for Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. That's kind of leaning me towards Gary Johnson. I am a fiscal conservative, and I think Gary Johnson is the most fiscally conservative out of all the candidates. And I do agree with a lot of his social policies, such as his equalization of gay marriage. The thing that I like about Gary Johnson the most is that he has experience governing, and out of all the candidates, he has the best experience, in my opinion. So.
Sean isn't alone in expressing concern about choosing a candidate who has the best plan to improve the economic health of the nation. Alec Tyson is a senior researcher at the Pew Research Center in Washington, D.C.
Millennials are very concerned about the economy, as are all generations, but millennials have come of age during a very difficult economic period in the wake of the Great Recession, and many of them are still struggling to establish a foothold.
Actually, 80% of millennial registered voters surveyed by Pew said that the economy was very important in determining who they'll cast their vote for as president.
My biggest fear right now is underemployment. And so right now I'm really hoping that I get into a career or the first entry-level job that actually resembles a bit of what I studied.
Ramon Guzman Jr. is graduating Penn State in December. The Central High School grad from Philadelphia's Feltonville neighborhood will be casting his first vote in a presidential election this year. In 2012, he wasn't yet 18 or a U.S. citizen.
What are the candidates saying and what policies do they have that you think will help you, or are there none at all?
Yeah, there's none in Trump, and I'm still waiting to see what Trump has to say, just for the curiosity of having a smart, knowledgeable campaign. Maybe. My parents are factory workers in Philadelphia, and a lot of their factory jobs are going to Mexico right now. Secretary Clinton has a plan for how are we going to make sure that Americans have American jobs, and that we can have a wage that we can live off of. Sadly, there aren't that many policies that are related to me that I think right now are available. There is the idea of having more jobs, but not necessarily more jobs in fields and in areas where, as a college student, we're really interested in.
Seems like they're policies that are going to help your parents and not necessarily you.
Yes, yeah. which is kind of a struggle to, and it's kind of frustrating, considering that my parents are already almost retiring age.
When I was growing up, I was in poverty, and there is that poverty cycle. So no matter what you do, it's very hard to get out of that cycle unless you get a higher education.
When Bertha Castaneda Guzman was accepted to college 5 years ago, her concerned mother asked how she could possibly make ends meet. Working sometimes 2 jobs to cover expenses, she made it through, but not without debt.
By December, once I graduate, I probably should have like about $50,000 in loans. Because Penn State is pretty expensive. Even though I've been able to kind of reduce the cost year by year, it's still a lot on my plate. As a low-income student, it's very essential for me to get a job right after college. I can't have like a gap year or anything like that just because I need to support my mother and I. So it's very important to get that full-time offer, so the pressure's on.
She's not the only one feeling it.
I'm a junior and I have over 100K debt. Yeah, so it's pretty hard. The American dream of, now you have the ability to do the same thing that your parents were able to do for you, and that's becoming much harder now because, with this debt, you're thinking now I have to pay this debt. This debt is kind of holding me back.
So what are the candidates proposing that could ease the burden? Trump hasn't announced a specific plan, only placing blame on colleges for making costs high. Clinton has put forth a plan that combines tuition subsidies, pushing colleges to lower costs, and having students work 10 hours a week to reduce tuition at public colleges and universities to zero. It would apply to anyone whose family makes less than $125,000 a year. But will these economic policies be enough to get young voters out to the polls?
Hillary Clinton does have a very strong millennial department, and she is trying to really get, attract to us. But I just feel there's definitely a disconnect between the politics of being in campaigning.
I mean, why can't she, or even Trump, get young people out to vote? I mean, 41% of people surveyed by Pew who are registered voters are registered independent. They're not registered Democrat or Republican. Yes. And there's a huge concern about making sure that they're actually going to come out and vote in November. Why is that?
We are fickle, a group that goes out to vote, especially when it's convenient for us. So we like to be there for the winner, but we don't like to be there for the whole process. We like to be woke and be activists on campus, but then we complain about the ideas and don't go out to vote to make those woke ideas be policies.
And the thing that strikes me about students today, this millennial generation, as you talk about them, they are incredibly engaged, service-oriented. They do all kinds of stuff. They are very socially oriented. They want to make a better world. They don't necessarily believe that's going to happen through politics.
Turnout really will be the key question. There are as many eligible voters who are millennials as there are baby boomers, but if past trends hold, far fewer millennials will actually end up voting than baby boomers.
So what did we learn from our visit to Penn State? We learned that students aren't energized by any of the remaining candidates, that while they are concerned about issues like the economy and jobs, they're not sure who has the best plan, and that their final decision may actually not happen until they walk into the voting booth.
Next time, we're headed to Temple University in Philadelphia to discuss social justice and the environment.
I'm Vince Lattanzio.
I'm David Chang.
For NBC 10 News.